Do you find, and I'm kind of backtracking here, but do you find that empaths have a harder time asking for help?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Because we're designed to give help.
Yeah.
Here to help. So there's the fundamental truth under that question that you just asked is, yes, we understand that we're here to help. We're spiritual beings. We're here to hold space for other people through our exceptional ability to know exactly what's going on with them. So, I have connection to light. I'm offering them my presence, my energy, my ability to be silent, to let them process. Because of that, because that's our primary goal, I would say and suggest, is because of that dynamic, we lose ourselves yet again. We lose ourselves and we give and give and give too much so that we get out of balance. So it's a learned skill that the universe is offering, again, this invitation. Will you step outside of your comfort zone? Will you ask for help instead of you being always the one that asks for help? And you guys are having an emotional, is one of you having an emotional reaction to that?
I'm just thinking, I definitely, that's been me my whole, Mandy will tell you, I'll freaking drown before I lift my hand up to say somebody here. It's a challenge for me. No, I am doing better though. Am I not, Mandy?
Yes, you're doing better.
That with confidence.
She's doing
no,
better.
But I definitely can relate with that. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, if you find a lot with the people that you work with, is that chameleon aspect, which can be manipulating or both very beneficial in working with people. I've seen it used as something that's not nice, but I've also seen it used as just to be able to, switch the energy over very easily with people. Mandy and I are very good at that. We're good at that. And I think that's one of the reasons why when we have guests on, whatever energy, we're able to both say, okay, this is the energy. We're going to shift to their energy now.
And yes, and so what you're calling the chameleon aspect is very present. We're shapeshifters. That's another label that we might use. I'm a shapeshifter. I know and I'm aware that I have that ability, just like you just said. We can merge because we literally become the energies that we're around. And then who we are at our core, which is always the light, it can sometimes get lost. So if we're around a lot of dissonance or sadness or wounding, then we can sort of become that. So we're being asked to really amplify our own energy. I have a right. Again, it's that sovereignty. And what you're talking about, there's a strong connection to codependency. This is where the connection to codependency comes in, because what codependency is I can feel you, and therefore I must make you feel good in order to make me feel good. And that's it's a true belief, but it's also erroneous if we adopt it as as the only truth, that you must feel good in order to make me feel good. No, I have a right to feel good, even if you feel like shit. I have a right to feel good. And that breaks the chain of codependency. There's a strong link between what we know as codependency, as you guys know, as you're illuminating, and between being empathic.
Yeah. And what's interesting? I have a question. I don't think I've ever talked about this before, or even know if this is common. But I remember as a child, like hanging out with people and my mom saying, well, wow, you sound just like so-and-so. You picked that up from her. Or, wow, your attitude is just like this. I think that empaths do that easily if they're unaware, is they're picking up other people's maybe personality traits or their negative habits and stuff like that much easier than someone who is not aware of that.
Yes. And so what we as empaths are designed by God or source or the divine to do is to, we have a natural inherent ability to look at, to become the energy that we are around. Therefore, our brains, our neurology and the way that we think and the neurochemistry of our brain is designed to focus on similarities. How am I similar to this person? Oh, okay. So that's what we're designed to do, to make people feel comfortable. Might be one way of suggesting that. So I know for me, like when I go up to Minnesota, I always talk like this. Oh, here I am in Minnesota, and I have my natural Minnesota
I totally
accent
do that.
comes out because that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up as a child. So when I'm around someone who speaks with a certain accent, Texas is no different.
Mhm.
I subtly, right? I
Me
catch
too.
myself. You
Oh
too?
my God,
Oh,
that is
when I
hilarious.
go to Louisiana, even if I'm talking to someone from Louisiana, all of a sudden, boom, I've got my accent back, or
Yep.
a little bit of a draw.
Yep.
My family was making fun of me. They're like, "Why is it whenever you talk to our Hispanic landscapers, do you get like this like Hispanic accent?"
Hey, did you finish my yard? Is that what you sound like?
I'm like, "Yo, SA, what are you doing back there?"
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
and that's for a good reason, right? Because it helps you or helps us connect with another person. They feel like, oh, this person really gets me. And the challenge, as we've discussed, is just taking that too far and realizing
Mhm.
that we can lose ourselves in that process if we're not careful.
Yeah. You know, earlier when you asked if I was having a spirit or an emotional experience, you know, I am, because for some reason today, I so desperately want these young kids, you know, that are with the suicide rate going up, to be able to ask for help, because we know that if you're alone, that your oxytocin in your brain isn't going to be there. We know that. You know, asking for help can be so hard. And a lot of them I feel like are just empaths. And I just want to reach them so badly because they're misunderstood. And I've seen how when they're in front of me and I just say, no, what you're experiencing is actually a gift, and just tweak the word for them, it's like their whole being changes. And they're like, really? Really?
Yeah.
And it's, and my heart just hurts for them because they're being told by society and by conditions that something's wrong with them. And if we could just get this out to them and let them know that what they're feeling is just love, is just,
And they're not alone. And they're never alone. And you know what? We know someone who just lost their son yesterday.
I know
Or the day before.
three in the last 2 days, all 21 years old.
Suicide? Or
Two were overdosed, but they think purposely, and one was suicide. Yeah.
well, yeah,
And they were all empaths. They were all empaths.
sure.
And that's the thing. What do you think about that, Michael? Do you see the wave of empaths? I do in my child. So I have children from the age 8 to 23. So I've got all this range of generations and these kids coming in. And I tell you, my 8-year-old and that generation, whoa, they're coming up. They might be the saviors. My little one is the most empath. I have goosebumps just talking about it. But even her friends, you know, the kids at the school, they're amazing. They're an amazing little generation.
They are, and you know, in the indigenous ways, I followed the Lakota healing tradition since 2003. That's really what saved me from suicide, and that was what began my healing journey. Is when I realized that I had to get help and ask for help. I asked the Native Americans because that's sort of part of my soul, and I just resonate strongly with those traditions. And so, in those traditions, the elders, my elders, will always would talk about, they're not here anymore, they're passed on in the spirit. They would talk about, you know, how children and the elderly, both poles, are the closest to God, the closest to source, the closest to divine, and they carry more light than that, you know, and that's designed that way. Our you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s are designed to be where we move a little bit further away from the divine for a reason. And so at those poles, especially with those young children, oh, there is such innate wisdom and intelligence there. And I really thank you for bringing this up because it's so important. And I just personally, I've never worked with kids because I'm a trained as a doctoral counselor, as a psychotherapist. And because of I've made a shift though out of that, and I do more intentional spiritual work now. And the question that I've always asked myself over the years is, how can I work with kids legally where I'm not putting myself at legal risk? Well, that was a question that I throw that question out now. My intention now is I want to work with kids, and so it's interesting that you're bringing this up. I want to work with kids and more than I ever have, and because it's really important, because that's how we're going to change the course of human history is through the children.
Yeah, they are the future. Wait, Yeah, that's the song, isn't it? The children in our future.
We
Who's
are,
saying that? Whitney Houston.
you were about to sing Michael Jackson. We
No,
are.
I was about to sing Whitney. I
Oh,
believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them. Yeah.
that was good,
Yeah,
girl.
see?
Amen.
Okay, so Michael, how are you doing on time? Because we might just have to make you 2 series because you're so amazing.
Well, I wanted to tell them about my theory about like the ILC, like Ethan and all them.
Okay, so how are you doing on time, Michael?
You guys are, I'm good. I have a client coming up at, let's see, it's 1:30 my
Well, yeah,
time. I have
we
a
do
client
too.
at 3, so I probably have another 3 minutes.
Okay. I wanted to ask you if you saw this or can you connect with what I connected with? So my third son, he is autistic, high functioning.
Mhm.
He's about to be 17 in like 2 days. So my oldest son was coaching a Special Olympics kind of basketball team. And, there was kids from, very severely disabled, like, in wheelchairs, which was amazing and awesome. And then, kids who are high functioning. Some kids are verbal, some kids are, just a range of them. And I walk into this gym, on a weekly basis. I almost can't breathe, first of all. I get very overwhelmed, not just with the energy, but I get very emotional as well because I'm so happy, right? I mean, they make me feel so happy. And if you know anybody in that gym who has a child or a friend, I mean, they're all so happy around these children. What are they lacking? Sure, they're lacking some skills that we all need to function as, successful people in like the normal world, I guess, if quote unquote. However, they're missing the things that we're trying to kind of quiet within our minds. They don't have a lot of ego, okay? They don't have the judgments, okay? I mean, it's hilarious. They don't care about what people think about them, of what they're wearing and all these things. They're just souls. I swear to God, they're the closest thing to freaking angels. And then you wonder why they have sensory issues and they can't be around the light. They can't stand the sound. They don't like to be too close to people. They, they're doing certain things that show that they're under stress when they're around a lot of people and don't have consistent lives and things. But these are the things that empaths struggle with. And so when you think about these special, I call them special souls. That's what I started calling them after that, because it's not that they need anything. In fact, we need to look at them and be more like them.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing? They're
It is
like
amazing.
a great example of really what we need to learn from them is exactly what this world needs. It's amazing.
They are nothing but love and unconditional love.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? What have they been the victims of? Judgment.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't make me mad. Oh, yes. And it's like, you know what? You be around. You spend a day with a child, who has Down syndrome. They will light your freaking life. They will change you forever.
You want to know another one someone brought to my attention recently too, is that a lot of transgenders are some of the most loving humans on earth because they have an amazing balance of feminine and masculine energy, and they have that Shirantra, like they're that's the closest you can get to divine because they have both. And they, I feel like both of what we just brought up is,
and there you go. And also most kids are asexual.
Yeah.
Most special needs kids are asexual. So there you go for that too. I mean, I remember at a therapy session with Ethan one time, and I said, oh, he really likes this girl's hair. He wants his hair long like this girl. And like the therapist said, no, it's not necessarily, that it's that he wants to be a girl. He just finds her hair beautiful. He doesn't give a shit, if it's male or female or anything like that. Literally just divine little souls here on earth that we could learn from.
And they're always the ones that have judgment put on them.
Well, let me just share, Shanna, what you just said is incredibly important because it's, that piece about them being special souls and divine souls existing in pure form. So there are certain individuals, and Mandy, you just gave voice to this, and this is where I just get so jazzed and excited because what you're giving voice to is a uniting of the indigenous cultures, the Native American cultures, and the Western viewpoint. And so what you just shared, and it's so important, is that the individuals like myself and who are gay, lesbian, queer, transgender, bisexual, that whole spectrum on sexuality, those individuals, and you don't have to be gay or lesbian to have what was called a two-spirit nature. So in the Lakota tribe that I have been so blessed and grateful to have been really given an invitation into their worldview now for almost 2 decades, as a white guy, which is very rare. And I'm fully aware of that and I'm grateful for that because they don't open up to the white man very often. When they do, and if you are blessed enough to be able to, like I, be a part of that, what I've experienced is a deep, deep respect and almost a reverence for those individuals on the LGBTQ spectrum, because of what you just said, that we carry the masculine and the feminine more balanced than someone who's not. And so in that tribe, in the Lakota, they're called wink days, wink day, WINKTE. And those of you that are listening and want to know more, do a little Google on wink day. I would just caution you to not read a whole lot into it because those traditions tend to spread orally, like I'm kind of giving a little teaching myself here right now on that. And they spread from elder to young person primarily. So there is some information out there. And here's the thing that I would really like to say or invite you into is there are many of us that are here right now on Earth that are what are called rainbow warriors. And the rainbow warrior is any person like myself, and I'm sure you guys, I can see on your face, that are absolutely stimulated by indigenous culture, know that there is a deeper truth there that they are sharing, that we are all one. And there's a phrase in Lakota, Mitakwi Oyasin, Mitakwi Oyasin. It means, it's their version of amen, the Christian version of amen. It means I'm related to everything, all my relations. After every prayer, this is what we say. We affirm to the universe, I'm related to you, you're related to me. There's no superiority, there's no judgment there attached. And so it's so cool that you guys are bringing this into the conversation because what you are literally doing is uniting the Western man, the white man, so to speak, or the non-native man with native culture. And that's been one of the primary drivers of my life. So I'll just put this one final piece out there. If you are listening and are intrigued by that, if you have a call in your soul that you feel and know that when I say rainbow warrior, that lights up something in you, don't go to Google. Come to me. This is my role. Part of my role is to share this one-on-one with you and help you understand some of your gifts, like I do with all my clients, in a sacred space where we can explore this more with reverence and sacredness so that you don't get overwhelmed by some of the misguided information that's out there on Google.
You're so awesome. Yeah. And yeah, you're just so awesome.
I'm seeing on your faces that something's touched a nerve there within you. Was it about the Rainbow Warriors?
Shanna.
I can't even talk. My throat chakra is like, no, yeah. And I just, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna cry. I'm mean, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? What am I crying for? This is the story of Shanna's life.
Because you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not easy for you to do as a Taurus. Both of you know this. As a Taurus, your general, I can see and feel this in you, is that you're designed to sort of hold things back and hold things in. So the fact that both of you have had emotional access to your emotional body, you've learned and you've mastered the lesson of Taurus. And so those of you that are, I'm also very interested in, I'm kind of an amateur astrologer. And that's why I asked you what your elemental makeup was, because I can sort of give back to you what I'm seeing here is that you're doing beautifully in mastering the lesson of Taurus, which is to access that emotions freely.
Oh, I must have mastered that at like birth. I cried pretty much at everything. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much for.
You know,
Thank
I
you.
just have to ask. We had one listener who was like begging me to ask you a question, and so I don't want to do her dishonor. I know we've gone way over, and we could talk for hours, but she wanted to know about the I can't even talk right now either, Shanna. About
what the hell are you doing to us, Michael?
A lot of people want to know right now about the narcissistic and the empath relationship, and how knowing if you're an empath helps you in relationships. And right now I kind of just want to tell them, guide them to you. Or we could do a whole nother podcast on that.
Let's do another podcast. I'd be happy to come back. You guys, we have great energy together. And so it's great that we, it's not an accident that we met, that we talked to you today. I had a strong feeling that this was what was going to happen today. And I'm really excited to see that manifesting. So just in answer to your question about the narcissist, yes, do have that person contact me. And what I can offer is that, it's one of our, again, the word opportunity or invitation by the universe is to step into our personal power fully. And when we do that, we're not going to attract narcissists anymore, because if it will come down to one thing that is the root of why empaths attract narcissists, it's poor boundaries.
I so see that in my life. Thank you for validating that. That's so true.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, so on our first of all, we wanted to talk about your book, because your book, oh my God, it has such amazing content and stuff that I've never even heard of, like the tongue thing. I mean, there's just so much in this book. I feel like everyone needs it. But we are definitely going to have you on again. We want to talk more about your Empath Academy. We wanted to talk more about your, Empath Awakening Circle that you touched base on a little bit. I mean, you have a magical website, and your courses sound so awesome. I can't wait. I want to join one. What are you offering right now?
Right now we have coming up, as we always do, the most popular class that I offer is called the Empath Academy. That's the group work. That's where we go really deep. And if you are someone who wants to finally address your patterning head on, bravely step up, that's the energy that we bring into the class, because that's the energy you bring. So I'm speaking to the listener right now who is thinking like, boy, this is really intriguing. So that's when we offer an ability, a way for you to transcend your limitations and the energies of the past, and to help you step into the energies of your true, empowered, non-judgmental self. And we do it in a group format, and that's what makes it so powerful. And I use my skills as a facilitator, as a therapist, to really create a very safe space for you to be witnessed, probably for the first time in your entire life, in that way, in that very profound, non-judgmental God, because we connect to the divine. We bring in our souls into the class, every class, intentionally. We have meditations. You learn new energy exercises and techniques that you can use outside of class. We ask you to commit to doing homework and really take it seriously, journaling outside in between each class. So that's a 5-week class. Our next cycle is in January. And so if that's what you want, that's what you will receive from the universe. through me and through us, the space that we hold as a group for you. And then we also have, if you're more of a self-study person and not so much ready for the groups yet, then you can invest in or commit to the Complete Empath Toolkit. And that's a program as well as a book. It's a book. It's much more than a book. It's a whole library of materials, a self-study program to peruse and to commit to and on your own time. So there are benefits to that as well. And then I have my year-long program that I only do once a year, and that is the Awakening Circle, and we do that every September.
And what's your website?
It's Empath Connection, empathconnection.com. And so thank you for asking. And, you know, if anything I've said here sparked anything in you today, please check that out. And please send me a personal email. I'm so grateful that I'm able, by the divine, to be able to do almost all of my work. Well, let me rephrase that. I still am able to do all of my work as a sole proprietor of my own business. I don't really like using that word, but you guys know what I mean. And because of the way things are going and the commitments that I'm making to the divine is making a commitment to me. That's kind of how it works with manifesting. We're attracting a lot of people to the point where I'm going to need an assistant very soon.
Whoop, whoop. That's good. I love the shift that's happening. I also would highly recommend to our listeners to go to his website at the bottom. He offers a free course and weekly updates that I'm telling you will bless you. I mean, they are just beautiful. So I love that you offer that. Go take the quiz. And I really hope that our listeners go to your page because you have so much just awesome shit to offer. No, not awesome shit. Awesome offer.
I received that. I received that. I love that. Shit.
Yes.
It was said playfully.
Yeah, you know,
perspective on.
And you're not alone, listeners. I mean, if these are things that you connect with, I know how dark that place can be. It's really overwhelming to be an undiagnosed empath, basically, because it can look so many other things. It can look like addiction. It can look like codependency. It can look like depression, anxiety, all of these things. But if you can connect with this, if this is what's happening, reach out to Michael, reach out to us. We'll help you. You know, it's very important that you know that you have a special gift. There is a purpose that you have this too. So connecting with that will help you live the rest of your life as you're intended to.